Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here, and welcome to episode 51 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by Chris Kringle himself, Lord Cognito.
What's going on? Chilling. Time for some more Duke talk. We got to put the Dukes up. Some good stuff we're going to be talking about today, right?
Absolutely.
Things.
Yeah, so we got ourselves a holiday episode here. We wanted to make this one very clear to the audience. This episode and our next episode are going to be very different from what you traditionally see on Defining Duke, which is the viewer write-ins, we do the news, all that stuff. We are, as you're listening to this, on a holiday break, a much needed one, by the way. So we wanted to make sure we didn't leave you high and dry. We wanted to have some episodes prepared for you. And I wanted to start off with this one. We're going to be doing Game Pass Game of the Year, some of the biggest busts, the top xCloud games. We want to start off with that because it's Christmas time. Maybe some of you got that new console, you got Game Pass subscriptions, and you're like, okay, what am I going to download? These are going to be our picks and the ones to avoid, and the ones that you can stream on your phone, on your tablet, all that stuff. Next week, we'll be doing our actual Game of the Year show. We'll be talking about the games across all platforms, what we liked the most, what we didn't like the most, all of that stuff. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this will be different from our normal episodes. So no write-ins, none of that stuff, no questions. You get to just listen to us, and that's it. No interaction.
That's it. That's us, just the Dukes. That's it.
Yeah, and I feel a little like naked doing this, right? I'm like, where's my dock at? Like, that's what I usually look at.
It's all good, man. It's a good switch up. Like you said, end of the year. Everyone's, might be I have some things under the tree for them. Maybe a little man Series S, maybe an X, and you try to figure out what you need, right?
Yeah,
try to figure out what you should prioritize. So we are here to help and assist with that.
Absolutely. So let's get started, of course, with the top 5 Game Pass games of the year. These are games that have arrived within the last year onto the service that if you're picking up Game Pass, or maybe you've already been a subscriber, you're like, what do I download? What do I sift through here? Cog, I want to start off with you at number 5. What is your beginning pick for Game Pass Game of the Year?
I'm going to surprise you because this one, I want to say we went in on it, but we kind of had our issues with it, And this one, I'm going to start off with The Ascent. And the yeah, I'm surprised. I know. I was like, he's gonna be like, what?
Wow.
I know that's probably on his worst list, but look, I'm gonna tell you why. I already know it's on your worst list, but it's cool. The reason why I say it is because there's not enough twin stick shooters, I feel, around, especially, with Xbox, the Cyberpunk theme. And what I wanted to do on my list, I was like, I want to have something old school couch co-op, old school playing with a friend, playing with multiple people, right? So I'm like, Christmas, whatever, you and your bro. And here's the other thing too. I've been actually a friend of mine just now getting back into gaming. So it's funny passing someone a controller that's really hasn't gamed in years. Right. And these are the type I'm noticing I can't pick these very complex games, so to speak, that we're used to. And I'm like, The Ascent would work. Just simple run and gun, shoot, that kind of thing. And I ain't gonna lie, Manny. It did still grow on me. It did. Because remember, it was a Duke Ultimate, begrudgingly, that I was like, oh my God, I gotta do this game.
Whatever. You had to burn through it. Yeah, I remember that.
And then I got it. But yeah, again, Cyberpunk 3, great music, 4-player co-op. And just recently, a new patch, new weapons, new couple of additions. So again, I knew this was going to be a surprise, but I got The Ascent in there for your twin stick shooting vibe. But what do you got? I want to hear these magical games. What's
I just want to talk about The Ascent for just an extra minute or two because I find it so interesting how it's developed. Like, what did it like just marinate? And you were like, I think I like this a little bit more than what previously I was feeling.
You know what it is? It's the vibe. First of all, the music, I feel, is very underrated. Once the beef starts happening and it's like it's an energy to the game,
Yeah.
right? Also, now we know the upgrades and things like that. Some are extremely overpowered than others, but like there is a level of configuration from a mods and a weapon standpoint that I do like, that I feel is fun. And sometimes you just need that simple, mindless fun with a bud. And it reminds me, this is going to really date me. A lot of the OGs going to remember. It reminds me, it gives me a little bit of a Smash TV vibe, which is again over that isometric kind of a look. And I will say, this is a beautiful game.
Yes.
In the genre, like it is like when you go on either horizontal, vertically, like the game really looks good. Does it has its travel issues? We know it has a lot of glitches and crashes, which now hopefully should have been addressed with these latest patches. But I say it's worth a shot to play with your friend, to play with a bud, and have some good vibes, and the potential for a sequel, I feel, is really good. So
I agree. Yeah, that would make it worth trying at least, right? Mm-hmm. Is that alone, is seeing what the series is about, because I think the future for it's really bright. If Xbox can help nurture and evolve that can turn into something that is a calling card for that console. So good pick. Mm-hmm. Interesting pick, rather. I don't know if it's a good pick.
I'm for the smoke. I can take it. I can take it.
That's funny. You were thinking outside the box, right? You were thinking intelligently, like, hey, it's Christmas time. I have some family over. Me, I'm like, you're alone, single player time. Let's do this.
Because you know what it was? I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest. There's certain games that I know supposed to be on my list, and I'm purposely going outside the box on certain ones for certain reasons. So I'm curious to see if you went directly to the box. I want to see what you got.
I think I got some. I'm looking at my list. I think I got some surprises here, but we'll see. Definitely, I know I got one. One, but I think beyond them, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So number 5 really won't come as too much of a surprise. It was in my Game of the Year last year. Got added to Game Pass August of this year, 2021. Hades. Yeah. Hades is a game that continues to benefit from the second life that has been given. Right, it keeps kind of reappearing on platforms. A lot of people forget this started off as an Epic Game Store exclusive.
Yes.
And then it finally came over to Switch, and that was a big deal. And then it came to modern consoles like Xbox, PlayStation, and it finally came to Game Pass. And this is a game that I almost would feel, the reason I pick it is because my mindset is I almost feel bad downloading this game. Like, it's a game that when I play, I go, I should be paying for this, man. This is so good. It's so good. It's probably, when you look at the generations, it's probably one of the best action games ever made. Like, it is insane that, to me, this speaks to what Game Pass is about. It's like that discoverability, but also like when you find that game, you go, this is legitimately really good. So you play Zagreus, who's the son of Hades, and your job is to escape from hell. And it's the story is really put to the side. It's not trying to take the whole spotlight. It's definitely there. The characters and designs of them are excellent. But what I really liked about it is the interactions, the dialogue, because one of my favorite things with games I'm learning is when they drop you into a world and there's a feeling like things have happened, right? There's no explanation for relationships. They just occur, and you sort of discover them through the eyes of the protagonist. So they do a lot of that on the story front. And that, I think, keeps you hooked as you go through run after run, because if you know anything about me, I despise roguelikes. I despise them. Me too. They are not my thing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you hate them like I did. I didn't.
Dude, that's the thing, and that's why I picked it too. Is because if you don't like roguelikes, this is the conversion. This is the transformation right here. This is the one that you look at next to. I love Slay the Spire as well. A completely different game, but this is the one that it's got those multiple runs where it manages to give you progression. There's a reason to go back. You do get better over time. It's not just like, oh, shucks, I got to get RNG lucky. And like, there is with the boons. So what you'll do is you'll get boons from different gods that you'll recognize, like Athena, Zeus, all this stuff. And they'll give you all different perks. And so the way those perks interact with the weapons you get, whether it be like the sword, the machine gun, like these wild off the wall things, it's just such a fun game where even if you beat it, I put in quotes because it doesn't really end, but like you keep doing runs, and there are so many ways to change how those runs go that it's always refreshing to dive in. So this is a great quick pick up and play game if you're busy during the holidays, but this is also great if you're just trying to sit down for a couple hours. Like, it is one of its best things is its flexibility. It just really gives you a lot of ways to play it, and a lot of and it doesn't demand all of your time. It's not like a huge RPG time sink. And so I'm guessing you've never played. Have you played Hades?
Yeah, I played. I got like midway through it. Again, my thing is finishing. Sometimes I'm like, I start and then I get squirrel distracted with something else, and I gotta go back to it.
I've become like that. I've become like that with Game Pass. Man. It's so bad.
Especially Game Pass, and especially with quick resume, because I can just bounce around a lot, and a lot of and Haley supports quick resume, so it's one of those things where I get a level in, do something else, level in, do something else, kind of thing. But yeah, Hades is phenomenal. That's a great pick. I cannot go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that one. That was good.
Yeah, I just feel like when people talk about it so much, if you buy it, you're making the right choice. But with all the talk of the town, I just wanted to let people know it's justified. It's extremely good. It's still a game I come back to from time to time, although I play it on my Switch because that's where all my progress is. But if you have not played it, to me, this is a must download. This is a must download because you'll probably end up buying it because you want to hold on to it. Like, I think it's that good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Must download. Art style is great. Music, fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Hades is phenomenal. So if I'm up.
You are?
I will go up. All right, so must download from me. This one should be no surprise. This is going to be actually no, it's not going to be a surprise to some, to you, but it's going to be a surprise to some. I'm going MLB The Show.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
The Show, but that was tremendous for Xbox this year. I mean, the fact that, again, simulation baseball fans have been in a thirst, a desert on Xbox. There's been nothing to the equivalent. And literally, I remember during the PS3 era, I'm going to be honest, the PS3 is one of the systems that didn't initially appeal to me. It was MLB The Show that pushed me over the edge because it was an exclusive at the time. And I'm like, yo, I got to have this. This is baseball. I could play my bets. I think one of the years David Wright was on the box too. I was like,
that was 07, I want to say.
Yeah, one of them years David Wright, I'm like, it's a go. So yeah, man, look, this is simulation, the de facto sports simulation baseball game. The modes, we already talk about it. The franchise modes, Road to the Show, March to October, all these different ways to play it. And, the presentation is second to none. You getting that true baseball stadium feel. You're feeling like you can smell the popcorn. You can, what I'm saying? Like it's that vibe. You know what I'm saying? And just the little, for baseball fans, the reason why you love it is that it's the little nuances, the camera cuts, the angles, seeing, the team match, seeing Mr. Matt, seeing the bubble, right? Like
no detail spared.
Yeah, no deep, bro. If you go to these stadiums, if you're a baseball fan, there's the little, even down to the cheers and the specific chairs they got. Let's go, man. You know what the vibe is. So yeah, they got it. It's phenomenal. And let's be honest, it was one of Xbox's most surprising and impactful moves to Game Pass.
Yeah,
that. I mean, I remember listening to. Actually, we had Colin on IOP when it happened. And that was like Colin's debut on IOP when it happened. And he was just like, look, this is a bad look for Sony. The PlayStation logo on, and they didn't really kind of know that MLB kind of brokered the deal. So the significance of it was really, this was a move. Yeah. So yeah, shout out. Yeah, MLB The Show for me is fantastic. And I'm waiting for the next one because our Mets, we done made moves.
Yeah, you got a little Scherzer. You got to wait for that roster update.
I want that roster update. I want my Marte. I want all that, man. So I'm ready. So yeah.
What was the mode you always went to? You've said it like twice now on the show, and I always forget. There's the
March to October, brother.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is amazing. Again, for a guy like me who, look, in theory, you love games. They'd be like, you can play 162 game season, but in reality, you ain't got time, right? So what I love about it is, you play, let's say, one game, your first game will be opening night, then they'll simulate the next maybe 5 to 10 games, right? And based on your performance on that game and metrics.
Right.
And each time you play your real next game, sometimes it'll be in different scenarios. Sometimes you'll be down a couple of runs in the 6th or 7th inning. Sometimes they'll give you a scenario where you play as one specific player to give them a boost based on your performance, and you don't affect the game. But the most time you do play the game itself, and it is phenomenal. I got so addicted to this mode. You can still do trades and general manager stuff. You still have that option, but It's for a guy who wants to get through the regular season, get to the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? And then it gets tough. It ramps up. It ramps up. And then there'll be key moments. Hey, divisional rival, first place. You know, this is going on. Hey, try to score a comeback. And if you fail some of these and you don't win the game, it will give, not that you'll lose every game, but it'll give you kind of like it goes on streaks, like hot streak, cold streak. Hey, the team is riding hot off of this big comeback that you did. Now maybe the next 10 games that are simulated, you may win 8 of the 10. As opposed to if you lost that, then you might go on a little skid. Right. So it's simulation. You don't have control of everything, but it's fun. And I really enjoyed it, man. MLB The Show, I play so much of that thing.
Yeah, it's such a great, again, kind of like what I said with Hades, great pick up and play game. But for me, like, I fight with myself sometimes because, you know, I'm such a tinkerer at heart. And it's funny because, like, in high school, I was super lazy. Like, I have no problem admitting that. So I don't know where this happened, but like, so I love to micromanage in games, I mean. And so, like, MLB The Show kind of gives you that with the franchise mode. Like, I love brokering the deal, like looking at my draft picks. Like, it really, if you want to go deep, you can. Or if you want to just play baseball, you can. Like, they even have that kind of trip. What was the name of it was the baseball game with Ken Griffey Jr. on the front.
Oh, man, why am I blanking?
Triple Threat, I thought it was, or something like that. Oh, that's going to bug me.
We had MVP baseball, then we had what was it? Triple Play?
Triple Play sounds right. I think Triple Play. Right. Okay. I think it was that game that they took the camera perspective from, where it was like above and behind the batting box. And it's just this arcade one button game where you just swing and hit bombs. And they have that in MLB The Show. So this is cool arcadey mode as well on top of it, if you want to enable that. And it's a lot of fun. I've messed around with it. It's eventually it kind of wears off, I think, because like you're just in an inning for like an hour just fucking cranking them. But it's a good throwback. It's cool. They do the sound effects. Like you hit the ball and you hear like the I love it.
Classic vibes. What you got?
All right. Number 4 for me. This is the one that I think will be surprising to people because it didn't sell well. I can already tell. And it's on Game Pass, and I'm really upset that people aren't talking about this one. It's called Unsighted. So this is if anyone doesn't know, I love pixel art. You know, my favorite system is really, when I'm talking in general, like my favorite console is probably the 360, but my favorite system of all time is definitely the Game Boy Advance. Yeah. And so I love the art style from there because those games are still beautiful, still playable. They just age gracefully. And so any games that kind of take that nostalgic approach and then modernize the design of them, you got my attention. So I saw Unsighted. I remember the developer had posted on Twitter, like kind of upset that their game wasn't getting any looks, which is kind of a rare thing. You usually don't see that. They were like, it's not really doing well. No one's talking about it. It came from 2 developers from Brazil, I believe it was. I know there's a lot of LGBT representation in it.
Yes.
I looked at it and I went, you know what? Like, I bought it because as someone making a game, I was like, you know what? Like, I get it. And especially like, that's one of my fears is like, we make this bomb thing and it bombs, right? So I was like, you know what? I want to support them. This game looks great. So I have no problem doing that. And so I paid for it. I bought it on Steam. And then I saw it was on Xbox. So I was like, you know what? Those Microsoft reward points are looking pretty hot.
Nice.
Get those achievements rolling. Okay. So I downloaded on Game Pass, and this game is excellent. It very well, as of the time of recording this, we're recording this at the beginning of December, so I could beat it. But I could see this crack in my game of the year list. Like, it's very heartfelt. It's beautiful. It is beautiful, man. Again, like the idea that 2 people made this world space and the amount of animations that they did, incredible looking game. But what is really cool about this, and it's funny because I didn't even think about this when I was making the list, but whenever I describe this game, I'm like, it's Hades and Zelda. So you'll get these tools like you would in Zelda to navigate these dungeons. You know, you get a gun to shoot switches. You'll be able to teleport, leap up walls, all this stuff over time. So there's a lot of navigation that's fun. It doesn't get you stuck for too long. Like, that's one thing I love about it. They're never overly complex. They're just finely tuned, which is really difficult to do. But then you get to the combat, and like every enemy demands their own mechanic and navigation. And there's a learning curve. It's small, but it's there as you adjust to the controls, at least. And once you adjust to the controls and you see the depth of how you have to handle enemies, because they're like little, it reminds me of Souls in a way, where subtle things where like sometimes for attacks in Souls, you got to roll to your left or roll backwards Like
Right.
there's a difference there that you need to like either get away from or to the side of.
Right.
And so this game has like, for example, it's isometric point of view for the camera. So sometimes you'll have to jump and you have to press A to do that. And when you jump, like you can see the character sprite move, like it's very clear. But there are certain moves that are telegraphed to you, like jump here, roll here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But it's funny because this type of game could easily fall into another genre I don't like, which is bullet hell. I really, really avoid those. And there are moments where it does get a little bullet hellish, but it feels more Hades. But this is a game that I really just wanted to sing the praises of because I feel like, again, Game Pass is the discovery machine.
Yes.
And yeah, Twitter's what brought me to it, but I don't know when I would have got around to playing it because of all the reviews I was doing and having it on Game Pass. It's like, boom, download it. This is a quick download. So for those of you out there who don't have great internet, the last two I've suggested, Hades, Unsighted, these are very, very, very small file sizes. So I cannot recommend Unsighted enough, though. This would be higher, but there are games I feel really strong about that I have played multiple times and played to completion that I want to spread the love on. But Unsighted is, in my opinion, like a must try. It is absolutely a must try. If you're looking for something new, support the indies. It's a game that I feel like over the years, I'm hoping rather people will start to talk about. I don't want it to go down like the hidden gem route. It's like this game should be, in my eyes, celebrated. It's really good.
Yeah, the pixel art style looks phenomenal, and I'm taking. You know what? I missed out on it, and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, wow, this looks really cool. Like,
yeah, you'll be surprised when you look at it. Like, how did no one market this? How did no one see this?
Yeah, this went under my radar, brother. I didn't even know about this, so I'm glad you mentioned it. And it looks really like I'm liking the character designs too. You know,
character design is amazing. Yeah, I should describe that a little bit. Thank you for saying that because I think that's one of the best parts about it. So it's this cyberpunk style game. Everyone knows, Cog and I said we love sci-fi, right? So you play as Alma, who is an automaton, and these automatons are powered by this new resource called anima, and this anima gives these bots consciousness. And one of the coolest mechanics, thank God you mentioned this, because this is like, I think, a defining feature for it. You can turn this off, is you'll get these things called meteor dust. And so what happens is like this tower has come down and it's snuffed out the anima. So everyone on the planet's on a clock right now. And everyone in this game can die. And you can give them meteor dust to keep them alive. But it's very Majora's Mask, where like right now my clock's like you got 300 hours left. It's not 300 game hours, but like as you die, you lose an hour. So those deaths, add up. If you get stuck, you're like, oh shit, like I'm really feeling it. Like how long do I have? But you've got like a companion with you who's at half that time. So it's like, I'm saving my meteor dust to like give them 24 extra hours, give them an extra day to live, right? Like that type of stuff. It's just such a good mechanic to add urgency to the game. But also everyone you talk to, it's a little more meaningful in my opinion, because you know that you might not see them in their story completely. They might die. And you don't know of like, who do I give this? Because meteor dust isn't this thing you find a lot. So when I have it, I'm like, I'm very nervous. Like, I like this person. Do I want to give them this? Do I want to keep them alive? Or am I going to waste it? Are they not going to be around? So there's that tug of war there. It's such a great mechanic. Again, you can turn this off if you don't like that. If you don't like the urgency, you just want to explore. They make that very clear. They let you know, like when they unlock that time limit, they're like, yep, like this is a thing. You can turn it off. They do a lot of great things with accessibility in this game. It's amazing to me. Like, I just don't know how, with all it's done and how it looks and how it plays, it's not a game being talked about. But it's phenomenal. Really do recommend that one.
No doubt. I love it, man. Great lit. And that's why I was kind of trying to be different as well. So I like that you added this, because I'm gonna check this out.
Oh yeah.
For me, kind of in the same vein, I'm gonna go with something that came to Game Pass this year that is not getting enough credit. And I went to just try it, and I ended up becoming so addicted that I had to beat it, and it was Forgotten City.
Yes, I knew you were in pick. Yes. Oh man, I can't wait to hear about this.
Brother, it changed me. Like that, coming to me, the game that got the most hubbub for this style of game, which is the time loop game, right, was 12 minutes. And shout out to Mayor Ben. He's still a man in my mind. I don't care if you lose the time. You always a man. You never lose the time. So, we did that Defining Duke Ultimate on that. And we loved it. We loved what it was trying to do. But one of my major gripes was respecting players' time and the intelligence of the player figuring out the loop, right?
Right.
So the thing that Forgotten City does well, first of all, is based on a Skyrim mod, right? I'm
So
not going to sit
cool.
there and act like this game is graphically, oh my God, crazy, but it's solid. It's solid. You know what I'm saying? The facial animations are okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little buffed up old school Skyrim, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. But the thing for me is the time period, because you got the historical ancient Rome kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You're this archaeologist. You're trying to figure out where you are, what happened, what's going on. And as you go on, you know, you're going to hear this expression, you know what I'm saying? It's like the sins of one will affect the many. So basically, that's the mantra here. The mantra is whatever you do, or basically in this area that you're in, this city, if you sin, we all die. Also, there will be events where other people will sin and do something. And if you don't stop it by a certain series of events, everyone's going to die. And then we got to restart the loop. So, but what's so cool about it is the game, the tough morality choice you have to make, right? Then you can tackle things so many different ways. And what's dope about it is so well voice acted, so well written, and it respects. This is when I knew the game had me. Once I started getting mid game, and I'm like, all right, I'm figuring it. I'm getting out. Okay, this is what they want me to do. They make these. Okay, got it. You know, manipulate certain characters, getting certain events to happen, avoid certain things from happening. There was this one character I got to, and what happens is you're remembering what's going on, and you're telling them, and they're looking at you crazy as if you're meeting them for the first time. And the game was smart enough to, in the dialogue choices, right, allow me to skip the minutia by giving them the Cliff Notes version of everything that I had did. And it was just so well done. And then
do
the last...
Do you think, not to cut you off, but do you think obviously that was a great design choice, but do you think that worked for you even more coming off of 12 minutes where you knew what it was like without that?
I'm like, good question. I'm like, this is how you do time loop, right? Right?
Interesting.
Then the other thing is, if, again, you're a fan of Roman culture, there's Greek culture in here, there's African culture in there. You're going to meet different characters and then their explanation thing. And the last thing is, this is very mythology, Greek gods, whatever. Without spoiling, the game is going to do something that is really amazing, and it's all going to tie together. And you have to now analyze the moral choices and what you're going to do. And the last thing I'll say, which really took it over the top for me, was I'm a person generally, I'll be honest, when I play these type of games with multiple endings, I generally just beat it. And for the most part, I'm satisfied with whatever I got. This is not the game. This game is so well done that I think it was like 2 of 4 endings, right? I got the ending number 2. I'm like, it was solid. It was cool. But I was so addicted, I went back to see if I could make things happen perfectly, get the perfect ending. This is one of the best, well-written, perfect endings I have ever had. I felt so satisfied. They tied up every knot. Everything was seamless. Bro, Forgotten City, I'm telling you right now, it's not heavy on combat. You can do combat if you want. The only weakness I would say is the combat is like, but I'm telling you right now, this is such a great game. I think it's one of the first games in the studio. Amazing. I highly recommend this game.
Yeah, it's one that I really want to check out. I'll probably have to wait till 2022 to get my hands on it, but it's one that is absolutely on the list that I really want to look. So great pick there.
Yeah. What you got?
For me, number 3, my top 5, I got to put this one out there.
Let's go.
Sing the praises enough, but it's time. Dishonored II.
Ooh.
Enough messing around with Deathloop. If you got Deathloop for Christmas, return it. Okay? This is the real arcane game. It's time to talk about it.
None of that Deathloop crap.
Yeah, look, I think Dishonored actually has a decent story and the characters are interesting. You're not there for that, though. You're there for the immersive sim stealth experience with supernatural abilities, and there's none better than Dishonored 2. So, first things first, right out of the gate, you know that you can play this game. You can at least squeeze 2 playthroughs out of this game.
Okay.
Because you can pick 2 characters. So you have Corvo, you have Emily. What's interesting, if you play the first Dishonored, Emily's a little girl. Now she's all grown up. So Corvo's a little older. He's kind of like the master and the pupil, right? And they both have completely different move sets, completely different abilities to use. So they explore differently. They kill or not kill differently. And the reason that matters is because there's a chaotic ending and a good ending. So not only do you have 2 playthroughs you could do on these characters that exist and just enjoying the world space and the systems, but there are multiple endings. You can choose to kill your targets, not kill your targets. It is, in my opinion, I know it launched in a pretty rough state on PC. That really dominated the conversation. But I can't emphasize to all of you out there, and I don't say this lightly, how unfair I think it was that this happened to this game, because I know it's their fault. But the conversation should have been about how there has never been a better stealth game with this much replayability, really. In my eyes, at least in the modern era, there is nothing that's come close to Dishonored 2. But it was all about PC frame rate. Right. Which, it's funny, I reviewed it on PC and it wasn't that bad for me. And I know it's different for everyone. But it's so frustrating because I think their window to kind of break through and have that big title was snuffed out because it was all about, oh, Dishonored 2 is broken, when it wasn't broken, at least from what I watched. I remember watching the Digital Foundry videos. It was the frame rate that would have micro stutters, and they could get distracting, so I get that. But this game, man, some of the most phenomenal level design the industry has ever seen. I think of when you're exploring Karnaca, the first city that opens up to you. It's one of the biggest levels that Arcane's done. The amount of things you can see and discover that's optional, incredible. It's a sandbox in a lot of ways too. That's what's so fun about it. It's so fun to crawl through because there's dynamic moments that are constantly occurring, like based off guard patterns, your abilities, how they interact together. If you look up montages online of people using Dishonored abilities, the way that everything interacts, it's incredible what you can do with this. But there's also the Clockwork Mansion that needs to be mentioned. One of the most, I think to myself, when you design a level and you start to lay out the blueprints of just like the basic, like, this is the room layout. Right. And how they did Clockwork Mansion, where it's like, well, when you rotate it this way, this room goes here. Like, it's incredible. Someone who made it has a brain on another level that is that humankind will never see again.
So that level of game design, like that. Okay.
Just, again, the design across the board here is phenomenal. Some of the best the industry's seen. And it's amazing that when we talk about all of these companies, that Arcane just doesn't come up enough. It's always like, yeah, they do great immersive first-person sims and stealth games. You can hear Revan's pretty hyped about that. But again, I need to put this in a top 3 for those who, respect my opinion. They take it seriously. Like, no, this is a top 3 for me. Like, this is it. Like, you got to check this one out.
Let me ask you this, because I know this is a great debate here, and I know people really sing the praises of Deathloop, which is Arcane. What, in your opinion, why can't Deathloop compete with this? Because I need to hear it.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. Let me start with what Deathloop does right. I think Deathloop does like ease of access properly. I think its condensed amount of abilities is more digestible. You have one player who does one thing and you know what that is. I think the tighter world space, while I don't like that, you heard what I said about Karnaca, how it was practically a city, open world area. They have more narrow alleys in Deathloop, less buildings to go into. So what you end up with is a much more easy to digest experience in the gameplay. So just know that if you get into Dishonored 2, I don't think it's overly complex, but there is a level of thought that's demanded there. But I think it gives room for being methodical.
Okay.
So what Dishonored 2 does that I feel Deathloop doesn't is really the choice that Arcane's always prided themselves on. Even in the first Dishonored, there's options to approach. There's do you kill or don't kill, multiple endings. Those things I feel make their games fun to interact with, because then every kill or non-lethal takedown is important. Like, I can't get careless. Well, you could get careless if you want, but I don't want to get careless. Like, if I choke this guy out, I don't want to just leave him on the balcony where this machine's stomping around, because it might step on him and kill him, and that's chaos on my end. It's like, I don't want the chaotic ending. I don't want to kill anyone. So maybe choke him out, bring him to the closet, that type of stuff, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's that level of choice and freedom more so, I think would be the better word. It's the openness, the freedom of how you want to play that this game embraces. And it's also, everyone knows I love BGS games. So to me, there's that, you pick up a book, right?
Yeah.
You actually see the book, you pick it up, you can page through it, see the notes. There's more character building there. So I think it's easier to get invested in the universe. I feel like there was a stronger idea of what this game series wanted to be. With the outsider being involved, who's a character I'll lead to Discovery. It's the most interesting character in the series. But it's just like the little trinkets you can mess with too. It's that mixture of interactivity and freedom that Deathloop just never does that I think Dishonored 2 perfected.
Okay. Say no more, say less. You sold me.
FPS boost as well. Forgot about that. FPS boost as well.
Got that 60 smooth.
No more of those frame rate complaints. Go download it.
Nice. Great list, man. Great. I love to hear it. If you're good, I'm ready for my next one.
Go for it.
All right. So this one, that shouldn't surprise you too much, but I got as many issues as it had at launch, I still gotta shout it out. It was Outriders. It was Outriders. It was Outriders. And the reason being is, look, for me to deal with a game that had that many issues and still be trying to play it after all the issues, and we know about the inventory glitch, and we know about but the thing about it, the reason why it was so beloved is because, again, I'm Mr. Looter Shooter, right? I'm Team Destiny, right? So to me, I like to see what the competition is doing and see how are they going to push Destiny into space. The problem with Destiny sometimes is just, I feel like quality of life, respecting the player's time on certain things, right? And the thing that I like that Outriders did, Outriders said, look, we're not trying to be all the way live show. We're going to tell you a story. It's going to have a finite end. And then you could do these expedition things for challenges after and that's it. That's the game. That's it. Right? So I respected that. Second, what they did is there's so many things that as Destiny players, we want as far as customization of builds. Hey, I want to be able to configure this, or like, I want my powers to synergize with the armor. And like what Outriders did so well is just like everything was customizable. You get a pair of boots and you wanted to work with a certain power. So basically what would happen is if you get, if you get a mod on a piece of armor that you like that synergizes well, right? The minute you break it down, this is Outriders' greatest thing as far as I'm concerned. The minute you break it down, you own the property of that mod.
Yes.
That is so important. Like Destiny, pay attention. This is how you do builds. So what happens is now any armor I get, future, right? I can put it on this gun. I can do, and now you really build craft, because Destiny, I love you, but you're fake build craft and you're very limited to what you can do. This is true skill set customization and why people love it. And then the other thing, I got to be honest, like, at first, when I started the story, I'm like, I was rolling my eyes. I was like, what the heck? I was like, this I am not. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I getting so mad? Like, this game is not taking itself seriously. Like, they are really kind of mocking over the top. Then I'm like, once I looked at it like that, I'm like, yo, I'm kind of having fun with this. And shout out to Colin, because I think, you guys talked about it as well. Like, it is a selling point. And like I said, it was for a first effort into looter shoot, it's very difficult. And I got to give them credit. They had the right balance with 3 players. It's just really fun. And, I enjoyed it. I really did. They got some new content out right now. Give it a shot. Right now, it's definitely in a playable space. And that, what is it? New Horizon, I think, is the name of the new content, which I got to try out.
I do got to try that out as well. Yep.
Great customers. And last thing, the classes and the powers were fun. They were really fun. I started, I'm a technomancer dude, so I'm a guy that, I like to have a turret. If a game got a turret, I like you. You know what I'm saying? So I can put my turret here, get aggro over there. Yeah. Like anything, like I could do stuff like that to get, and then I can freeze, and then the synergizing and working with your people. Outriders, they did it for their first attempt. They did a great job.
A huge evolution from, what was it, Bulletstorm to Outriders.
Yes.
Completely, I think, did an excellent job. So,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, what you got?
All right, so my number 2 here. Xbox accomplished the impossible with this one, right? Octopath Traveler.
Ooh.
Surprise, surprise, pixel art.
Heat. Yeah, I'm not surprised with you.
Oh my God. But look, this is This is a game that I was so stunned to see come to Xbox. I mean, I knew they brought it to PC.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually like the limit there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was like a great sign of what was to come, right? Like, what else could Xbox like work to PC then work to their consoles? And it's interesting because Octopath isn't like this physical thing. Like, it's on Game Pass. I believe you can buy it digitally. I've actually never checked, but I would imagine that's a safe assumption. But Octopath Traveler is kind of like what you said with the storytelling. It's not what you're there for. It's a classic 16-bit RPG in every sense. Excellent music, but the pixel art and how it meshes with Unreal Engine 4 creates this new 2D or HD 2D style that Square Enix really prides themselves on. We're seeing the Dragon Quest III remake use something similar to that. It's incredible how good it looks. Like, you'll see the water. The water looks like, I don't think Sea of Thieves, right? And then you look at the buildings and the character sprites, and it contrasts against each other so harshly that it works really well. It loves its visual effects, like a little contrast bokeh. Like, it's really kind of bright and colorful, but that's what makes it pop. Otherwise, it's really a traditional turn-based RPG. It's one that I love a lot because it has a system that they took from Bravely Default, and I think they evolved it and made it way better, which is the boost system and then the weakness targeting system. So every enemy has a shield count. So let's say you had 5 shields and you were weak to fire spells. So I hit you with 5 fire spells, and then eventually the shield breaks. So now they're stunned. They lose a turn. And you have 1 turn to just wallop on them. The reason the boost system plays in that is you could ramp up how much damage an attack does, like 4 boosts, and then hit them with a fire spell and do 1,000 damage. Or let's say they're weak to swords, and that guy's got 4 shields. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 boosts. Go up to him, 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, pop his shields. It's like you can hustle turns if you want to. If you got a big game plan in mind, that level of interaction and being able to change the game and react based on what's in front of you, that's what makes turn-based good, in my opinion, is the ability to react, right? Because you can't control what the other team's going to do. They're going to hit you. They're going to do whatever. And depending on what level the difficulty is at, like, they might just not do anything. But in this game, it's a little bit more difficult. So they're going to hit you hard because they have the same tool set you do. So it's like, you have to get really creative and thoughtful with it. One of the harder final bosses I've fought against, too. Very tough.
I heard about that final boss, and shout out to Addict. I heard the side stuff is brutal hard. If you try to be a completionist with that one, I heard horror stories. Like, it will test you.
Absolutely. Job system, I also wanted to shout out to conclude this one. It's really cool because this is where it's nice to see Square Enix do these types of games because they get to visually represent like your jobs. So you could say that I'm trying to remember her name, Ophelia, who's definitely, like, you could tell she's kitted out to be a mage, and she looks that way. Like, she's got a white gown, she's got a staff. You can give her the warrior class. Then she comes out with like armor, a big sword. Like, it changes the sprites based off what job you give them. And what's cool is you get BP as you complete battles and quests, and you'll eventually level up skills that are exclusive to those jobs. So you can like mix and match, and there are a higher level of classes you can discover in these dungeons that you can equip in the end game. So there's a good progression there too. So if you're looking for something a little more traditional, Octopath Traveler is absolutely it, and it is gorgeous.
Oh, let me tell you, that's a phenomenal pick. That was one of the picks when it came to Game Pass. I was proud of Xbox to get that one because I'm like, they needed that. I remember seeing that on the Switch, and I was like, man, this is a beautiful game, and this is a genre. Yeah, I think that was huge. Solid, super solid,
agreed.
super solid. So that was fun. We got 4, so this would be my number 5, right? I mean, number 1 now, number 1. All right. You know what it is? Come on, man. It's time now. We got to stop playing. Got to stop playing now. Got to get real. Come on, the king is back, man. The king is back. We know what it is.
Yeah.
We had Raygun in here. You're highly requested for specific reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's Halo, one of the greatest comeback stories. The comeback kid, the old man dusting off the boots. And look, as much as obviously we've had our concerns, rightfully so, and issues rightfully so, as far as features not making it and concern about how if it's coming in high, and we know it did to an extent, but the thing that I appreciate is the core gameplay on both modes, right?
Yeah.
Me and you have been privy to play the campaign, so we can talk about the preview aspect of the campaign.
Well, no, by the time this is live,
it's out.
We can talk about the full thing if we really want to.
Okay, good. But I mean, I'll go. But I will say this. Look, playing about 6 to 8 hours of it. I mean, it should be about 4 to 5 hours. Excuse me, first of it. I already felt it. I'm like, man, they got it. This feels good. The grappling hook changes the game. Yeah. The enemies, the banished, absolutely amazing. And for the first time,
villain group, really good
villain group, really good. And for the first time, with the open world, there was questions, right? How would they handle it? And I just felt they did a good job of making me feel like, yo, this is overwhelming odds. I got to plan and attack, but I got the option to take things from different perspectives. And they did it, man. They did it. Yeah. I really feel solid about it. And shout out to the cars. They're feeling solid about it too. Yeah. But look, so you got that portion, which is the campaign and the Master Chief story and everything. And then this damn multiplayer. Right, and,
it is multiplayer, indeed,
bro. It is the most fun sandbox, the most balanced PvP arena shooter out. It's not even close. We talked about the competitors; they've crushed Vanguard, they've crushed Battlefield. They are they're the show, they're the talk, and the weapons, even the newer stuff for the most part. There's few weapons maybe outside of a plasma pistol where you can't really have functionality. So that goes to show you how good the game is and balanced the game is. If I can complain just about this one little thing, then we know that can be tweaked. So yeah, man, on every level, Halo Infinite, they did it. They're back. They're back. So I know you want to add in, jump in, because I know you got stuff to say.
I think one of my favorite things about the game was the forward operating basis, which I didn't expect, because what would happen is as you gain the Valor and you unlock your weapons and stuff, what you do is like take a couple snipers off the rack, give them to the Marines, drop in a Razorback. It's like a nighttime raid on a banished outpost. It's like, that's cool. Like that, man, growing up, like Combat Evolved especially, protect your Marines at all costs.
Yes.
All costs. Head count every fight. Like that type of shit. And this game brought that back. It's like, it's like, come on, get in. Like we're doing this together. Like no man left behind. I don't know what it is about Halo 2. Like these are in any other game, they're just grunts. I don't know. Because even the personalities in Infinite with the Marines, like I just liked how they sound in Combat Evolved. So I like them a lot to protect them. In Infinite, I think it's just like an innate thing. It's like, I gotta do this. I'm born to do this, to protect. And I just love that, because what happens is you lose the mission structure of I always use the Nightfall example in Halo Reach. It's like, you go in with a sniper rifle, it's nighttime, it's raining, Truth and Reconciliation, of course, in Halo Combat Evolved, same thing. Right, they kit you out and they set the atmosphere, so each mission has a particular feel. You lose some of that, but in translation, you get your own version of Nightfall. You get your own Truth and Reconciliation, and I like that. Like it's, I don't know if I'm sold on the whole open world thing yet. We'll see how they expand that, but what they did here was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun, and there's a lot to discuss on that, certainly.
Question, because you got to be NDA respectful. When is this episode? Will this episode be out once released?
This episode will be out the week of the 22nd. So we're good. We're good. Okay. Yeah, we're way beyond that.
All right, cool. So I got to listen. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, campaign wise, the way this game starts, you know what I'm saying? It was for me, because my main issue with Master Chief, I never really connected with him sometimes, is because I never feel the sense of vulnerability. I never feel, you know what I mean? He's in trouble. Oh, no, you're going to feel that. Oh, you're going to feel that. Oh, you're going to get that. And to me, this was without spoiling, because again, there may be people who listen to this episode and play it, but this is my Infinity War moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, when it came to the characters, they did excellent job. Yes. Excellent job. Yes, I agree. Great number one pick. Mine I'll have less to say on, because we kind of talked about it already. Outriders is my number one pick for Game Pass Game of the Year. Yeah, number one. This one set the tone, I think, for Xbox and Game Pass. Like, this was the statement, right? It was a statement on two levels. It was like, number one, hey, we're going to get you on day one. Like, this is a service that just doesn't give you, like, late games. Like, we're going to get some games day one. The second part of that statement was, we're going to help games that come out day one here. Obviously, case by case scenario, but I think Outriders was dead in the water. I don't think many people were willing to spend 60 until Game Pass came around. People played it, talked about it, and a lot of people were like, all right, this looks like worth my money. You got people streaming it, talking about it. There was a zeitgeist.
Yes.
So there's a whole social level that made me pick this, right? Because Outriders was like the beginning of it all. I think we'll always remember that, right? That moment of 2 weeks out from launch. You could see some of the conversation picking up on Outriders. You know, they did a beta and they announced the demo.
Yeah.
And they go like, okay, cool, right? Things are looking solid for them. And then they drop that and you're like, yo, I can play this in full. It was just a crazy concept, especially at its time. And it still hasn't worn off, right?
Yeah.
Right? So that alone to me puts it at number one because it really defined what to expect. Because then they followed up with MLB The Show, another great game. And I hate to just echo you here, but I got to. It's like, I can't think of a game that I enjoyed as much with so many problems. It was so fun that I don't want to say I didn't care because I did care. But it was so fun that I was willing to fight through those loading screens, those server things. Man, dude, there were so many. The inventory wipe bugs put me off the game for 2 weeks. Normally, that's the kiss of death.
That's it. Uninstall.
See you later. Done. Right? I kept around. I hung around. Once they announced we patched, I'm like, grab my controller.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing.
Right? I don't know what it was other than the only thing I can put my finger on is we're talking about a game that channels every bit of B tier Xbox 360 energy into every pixel in the game.
Yes.
But it's so fun. I love the gore, and it was great because I played as the Devastator, so I had this move that like set me up in the sky. And I come in and ground pound. I'm like, oh, they're gonna get knocked back, and you just land, and it's like it's soup, man. Like it's like it's tomato soup all of a sudden. And it's got really satisfying gameplay, gunplay, and this was an easy 40 hours for me, man. Like it never got tiresome. Honestly, I know I stopped playing it because it was gonna distract me from other stuff. Like I knew, hey, if I fire this up, like it's gonna pull me away.
Yep, you know what it's gonna do.
Every time I played it, man, it captured me. And what I loved was, again, guys say what you're saying. I love the design of the game. You talked about the build emphasis. It's there. It's fantastic. I love that it was a game. What really kept me in too is I knew I could finish it. I knew I could finish it. So when I beat it, I walked away no FOMO. And that is a rare feeling, especially in a looter shooter. Only game we can talk about that's really done that is Borderlands. And even with Borderlands 3, while they didn't do live service stuff, they kept fucking updating. They kept adding stuff to it. I didn't like Borderlands 3 as much. So to me, especially, I thought I wouldn't like Outriders because I'm like, Borderlands is the king of the hill, right? I don't know. We may have seen someone usurp the throne here. In my experience, I just thought Outriders was a blast and it was hilarious, right? You said it didn't take itself seriously. I remember my preview of the game. I was like, this story sucks. But yeah, as you get deeper, you're like, okay, they're not even trying to tell one here. Like there's some stupid shit here that just, but when I talked to Colin, it's funny because, Colin's a very serious dude. So he's like writing notes about the game. He's like, I actually thought that the lore was interesting. I'm like, funny. I didn't know a single thing about the lore.
Oh yeah, the whole Enoch thing and I mean, they tried, to go there with it. I'm with you more so on that one because it's like there was a thing, and I remember it was like a big standoff, and someone took someone hostage, and the guy comes out. And then instantly gets shot in the head. I'm like, this game is just... Yes. See them though. And I'm like, okay, they don't even care. They're just having fun with it. They're doing tropes. They're doing things. And that's when I just stopped, taking it so seriously and just have a romp with it. And I want to add on real quick to what you said. The other thing that really kept me in was the world tier system and how it really rewarded you based on if you pushed yourself more. And every aspect of the game can be tweaked. The weapons and you wanted single shot, you wanted this, you like this, you could tweak it. The exotics. I mean, they did a good. It's rare to get the gameplay loop down on your first go. And this was a big undertaking for them. Bugs, yes, we know what were bad, but the core gameplay is there and it's super addicting.
Yeah, hats off to them. I think this is to me, is this the one that I would say, like, you gotta download it, like, compared to everything else? Like, I would probably pick Dishonored, Unsighted, Hades. But, like, look, Outriders is an excellent romp, and it's the only game on this list here that I know you could play with friends. I played this all single player because no one would fucking play with me.
Are you serious?
No one wanted to play with me in my group. I know. Yeah, I think this is before our time.
Before our time. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But dude, I was playing this by myself. I was telling my friends, I'm like, this is so fun. Join me. And they're like, it looks generic. I'm like, that's half the fun. Like it deceives you. You come in and you're like, stupid. Oh, wait, this is fun. I'm telling you, man, this is a good game. So please, anyone listening, you got a buddy to play it with. It's definitely working way better now. Give it a download, give it a try. You will be surprised how much fun it is. Just don't take it too seriously. Be surprised how much fun it is.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've celebrated games quite a bit, but we gotta shit on some here. You want to get us kicked off with some busts? You got 5?
Yeah, I got 5. Let's start off. So the busts.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I'm like, I'm not surprised you with this. I'm gonna throw Avengers on this list. Not for the reason many think. The reason why I'm mad that it came so damn late. It should have been there from the beginning. You know damn well you should have been there from the beginning. But I don't know if it was the Spider-Man thing or whatever. And it's just the reason why the other reason why I was frustrated is that the single player campaign is actually decent in this game. It's actually usually superhero games struggle to do a good narrative. And this one at least had that, right? You're playing Kamala Khan, you try, learn about the Avengers, what happened, even though they kind of the Party City Avengers, but whatever.
Yeah, the beginning is really good. I did like the beginning.
It's really good, right? And then as you go, and I'm like, I'm a Destiny guy, and I'm like, I don't really want this looter shooter thing in here. I'm a Destiny guy saying that. Like, I don't want to have to get the arms and then what's bad about it was like, it doesn't even physically change the way you look.
Yeah.
When you get another pair of boots or another pair.
Imagine that, right? What a crazy concept that people wanted their superheroes to look kind of like rad comic book throwbacks that aren't just skins, but like the armor. Dude, yeah, sorry. I mean to cut you off. Just
you're
seems so obvious.
It's so obvious, right? So it's like, then you start to see the warts start to show. Right. And the thing that really did it for me, this is the most egregious part, is like, okay, you talking about you are a cooperative game. You can play with friends. This is the most cumbersome, worst system of trying to play with a friend I have ever seen in a game. Like, it wasn't, let me tell you how bad it was. This is why I'm mad. Because I'm such a Marvel fanboy and a superhero game fanboy.
Yep.
I bought the game before it came in back. I'm like, all right, man, they never come. Okay, fine. My boy, he was like, I'm not doing it, bro. I'm not. I was like, you know what? Got a little extra money in the check this week. We get hook you, boy. You gonna get that digital gift. So you gonna play with me. Because I know he's a Marvel fan. So I was like, you got mail. Check your mail. He's like, oh, damn kid. He's like, oh, you really did that? I said, we playing. So we get the joint. So it's like, I'm starting it up, Matty. I'm like, yo, all right, let's go. And he's like, yo, where's the co-op joint? Oh, no, you got to do this whole...
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Bro, you got to do this whole single-player campaign before you can play with your man. I got caught up doing that. We ended up not playing together. Because he did his thing, I did my thing, and we could never schedule it. And I'm just like, this is the worst implementation of cooperative gaming ever. So it's... Remember, bro, that's egregious for me as Captain Co-op. That is egregious. So I had to give it up. And now, yes, they tried with the DLC. Yes, it eventually came in Game Pass, but it's a game that doesn't know what it's trying to be, and unfortunately, it's just not that great. To be honest, so I like the story. Shout out to I do like the Black Panther DLC. That was good, but I can't recommend this thing seriously. So Avengers.
I'm curious what your number 1 will be then. If you that's your 5. That was pretty hard because mine hit different angles. People get to feel what I'm because number 5 is going to surprise you more than anything on my Game of the Year list.
Okay,
Scarlet Nexus. Yeah. So here's the thing: Scarlet Nexus isn't really a bad game by any means, but they fucked up with this game so bad to the point that it's beyond irrelevant now.
Wait,
this should have been day 1, man.
Oh, okay.
This should have been day 1. This is what I'm saying. I'm taking different angles on this one.
I like the angle. I love it.
Because this is one of those situations where people were expecting it. It was clear it needed it based off how I would put in quotes shortly after it arrived, 5 months later. It needed it.
Yes.
It needed that player base immediately. Xbox was ready to provide that, and they didn't do it.
Yes.
I don't know if there was any deals on the table. I don't have any information on that. But to me, Scarlet Nexus is a bust because
Mm.
by the time it came around,
Yeah.
holiday season, it was too late.
Wrap.
It was
a
too
wrap.
late, right? We
Yeah.
were already playing other stuff. There was
Mhm.
time in May where there was room to play this game for a lot of people. There would have been that conversation like, yo, we got Scarlet Nexus, like Xbox, JRPG. There was so much that made sense about this game being a Game Pass game. I'm happy it is now, right? A lot of people probably downloaded it, tried it out. But there was so much about it that made sense to have that there day one. And I think that Bandai got ahead of themselves because here's the thing. Let's be real with ourselves. Xbox really isn't the home for JRPGs. Most people who are purchasing this game are purchasing on PlayStation. We actually had the stats on DD to prove that.
Yeah.
So all this would have been for them is a little more marketing.
Yeah.
And they never did it. So again, this has nothing to do with the quality of the game.
Okay.
Scarlet Nexus is by no means a bad game. It has everything to do with a complete missed opportunity here and the timing being horrible. The rest, however, we'll talk about. Yeah, we're going to talk quality of games, but I just wanted to kick off with that one.
Yeah, no, that was good. We continue in our bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
It hurts me to say it, but Back for Blood.
Oh, wow. Interesting pick. All right. Why is this one a bust?
It's a bust because this thing dropped, like it sunk like a wave. It just sunk so hard. Like the potential is there. The game is fun.
Right.
But we were talking about it on the Game of the Year. I mean, the Game Awards lists, right?
Mm.
And we see it nominated. And it's not a bad game. It's fun. We like it. It's just that there's something missing.
Yeah.
Like this game should have been the addictive game that's everyone's talking about it. Everyone's still playing. And I looked at my friend list and they dropped that thing like a bad habit, bro. Like they got what they had to get and it was out. So it's a combination of whether the replayability, the card system, something
AI.
The AI.
genius, man.
There you go. Like, and then the not playing, single player. Remember you couldn't.
Weird, man. Like,
Weird.
I don't get that.
And I think it's one of those situations where I don't think they get the mojo back because, bro, all these fire games are out now, and it's like, are you really gonna go back for Blood now if they fix it? So they're in a tough spot. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel so bad for games that launch in late 2021 that need time to capture that magic. It's their fault, but 2022, there's no time. There's no time for that. We are on to new things. Like, I'm sorry, but I am pushing that hard. Like, it is new because there's next gen only stuff. There's time to use our new shiny consoles. People do not have time to wait for your game to become what it should have been at day one.
There you go. And I'm to the point now, I'm giving everyone's on notice. If you're in that category, like you just mentioned, that game that you didn't drop well or you had a couple of issues, you got till January as far as I'm concerned. Because once February hit, it's over for you. Yeah. It's over. No one's caring. Elden Ring's out. Horizon Forbidden West out. Destiny, Witch Queen's out. No one's playing you no mind. So you got that. That's the timeline you have with yourself. And I just thought it just didn't hit the way I thought it was going to hit. Good game. Not bad, not terrible. Just it did. And I know it's going to disappear into the ether.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even know if a versus mode. It just feels like I don't know if a versus mode because there's not enough conversation since it's launch week, and every conversation I saw about it was just on how it was missing stuff, right? The versus mode, the solo play. Yeah. All right.
Very curious on the player count too.
Yes, that would be very telling.
Yeah, but yeah, what you got?
Number 4. We got another interesting angle here. Dead Space 1. Oh my God. This wasn't here until a very recent decision was made.
I'm so surprised. Why? What could it be?
Yeah, look, Dead Space 1 is, I believe, greatest survival horror game made.
Right. Okay? It's your baby.
Must play.
Yes.
And they had the chance to take this thing, bring it to a new level, and they did it. They didn't. They brought Dead Space 2 and they brought Dead Space 3 to a new level. But Dead Space 1, legendary status, is chilling there at a nice, choppy, 30 FPS, man. And you can only get 60 on PC. And I'm sorry, but I'm not a crazy fan of that port. The controls on keyboard and mouse aren't that great. I would rather play it on console. I think it's where it's best played, what it was made for. It's very inspired by Resident Evil 4, but I think it evolves it in meaningful ways. Dead Space 1 got snubbed by FPS Boosted, knowing now that until they find some new programming tricks, if ever, that's a thing in the past. I'm upset about that, but I also think it's a matter of convenience here.
Of course.
It's a matter of convenience here. If you have a definitive version of your original game you're remaking, heaven forbid, right? Heaven forbid. It's so obvious what EA's doing here. We figured out 2, figured out 3, but that Dead Space 1.
Can't see the technical issue with that. We just can't.
Yeah, there's something off about that. I don't know what it is.
That particular one.
But yeah, we're not selling it in a couple of years. We don't want you to go back and play that. I'm like, wouldn't that work? Wouldn't you want people to go play and be like, yo, I want to see what this remake's all about now? Like, imagine this with modern tech. I mean, I've made it known I'm very nervous about that. That's why I wanted that 60 FPS, right? I wanted to be able to be like, Xbox definitive version. Like, I hand someone a copy of the game, I'm like, put it in your Xbox. It's a wrap, right? Like, we don't got to worry about this remake from EA Motive, who has a history of, I don't think, great games. It's like, you know, and a remake's different. Maybe with the blueprint, they have a better idea. But with what new content they can do, it's just like, yo, missed the boat on this one. If it is a programming trick, figure it out. Do us one last favor. Do us one last favor.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Hurts.
Well,
it makes it tough to recommend. Sorry, I knew you were about to say, but like,
please.
It just makes it tough to recommend where I have a tolerance for 30 FPS. I play a lot of old games. I do a retro channel. Like, I don't care. But I'm not gonna lie to myself, man. Like 60 FPS is the move, and
you in there?
Yeah, but not only that, but I know it's a move for a lot of other people, and I know when I tell them, "Yo, this game's good," I'm speaking their language. Survival horde, dismemberment, great story, manipulation of mind. They're like, "Oh yeah." I go 30 FPS, and they go, I'm busy, right? They strip that ability to recommend it even stronger from me. And I do not appreciate that. Anyway, I cut you off. Please, what were you going to say?
No, that was it. I mean, well said, because, you know, we've talked about this, and, you know, I don't want to say anyone's lying on
I will.
You know, I love my boy Jason Rod. I'm never going to say the team's line. I'm never going to say that. But, you know, I struggle with that one because of 2 and 3 and the fact you can't convince me that EA is not influencing this decision on some level. Because you can't. I'm going to go to, I have no information, but that's what my gut is telling me. Yeah.
Because Dead Space 3 is, in my eyes, a technical fucking mess. If anyone wants to do a little experiment and just see what a poorly made game is, check out Dead Space 3. Like, you might actually end up enjoying the gameplay, but the amount of loading screens to stop, start, like you're in a bad traffic jam is what that game really is, man. And the fact that they figured it out for Dead Space 3 with co-op, by the way, but it just wasn't working with Dead Space 1. It doesn't make sense. Someone show me the proof, because I don't believe it.
I would have to hear this story. I would have to hear the technical reason why they couldn't do it.
That's what it will take. And then I'll shut up.
Then I'll leave it alone. Yeah. Then they'd be like, yo, it was this definite bug or level that, and Isaac spins in the circle when you do. Okay, fine.
But right now,
right now, I ain't buying it.
It's fighting night.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm fighting with you because I don't buy it either.
Yeah.
All right. So we're moving on now. This next one, I'm breaking the rules.
Oh.
This is technically Cog cheating. Outright cheating, but I would be remiss if I do not mention this because it's bothering my soul. So technically, this is a cheat. Cyberpunk, why aren't you on Game Pass? Why aren't you on Game Pass? That is a bust that you are not on Game Pass. So you get the bust award. I'm sorry, Cyberpunk. I don't like you coming out there lying, talking about, you know, we don't see reason why. You know, bro, nobody's paying for this again.
That was the funniest shit ever. You a bust for not being on Game Pass?
You a bust. I gotta give you the bust award. I'm sorry, bro. You are what they call it, Game Pass fodder. You are Game Pass fodder. You are the guys that the fanboys laugh at. You need to get on this and stop it. Stop it, Cyberpunk. I don't want to hear your CEO talking about that you got more to do. I don't want you trying to repackage the multiplayer and say, because we know you're gonna do it. We know you're gonna do it, Cyberpunk.
They'll eventually resurrect it, I feel. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna resurrect it. They probably sell that next gen patch. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You think you're slick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Again, it's cheating. I had to get them, though. I just had to get it. So that was
I think
quick.
that's a phenomenal pick. So unexpected.
Cyberpunk, bro.
Yeah. We went off on them on an episode of Define and Do, but like the idea that there's more money to be made is clearly what they're saying. I'm like, dude, you guys are selling it for $10 right now. What do you mean? Unless you're going to sell it for 60 or 70 again, which we know they're going to do. We know they're going to try.
God. You know the definitive edition, the breathtaking edition is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. You know what's coming. DLC, multiplayer, repackage, and it's just like, y'all so tone deaf. But that's what I got. I had a quick laugh. I figured you liked that one.
I love that. That is the best one of them all.
What you got?
All right. So number 3 for me, The Ascent. I know that was a top 5 for you, but for me, this is a bust. Man. You couldn't find someone on YouTube more openly excited for The Ascent than myself, I don't think.
You're right.
I was a vocal supporter. I was like, this is Xbox. Like, I started throwing back to Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance. I started throwing back to Champions Return to Arms. These were on PS2. These were my games, man. Like, that was my Diablo. And I love the isometric action RPG. I love the looters in that department because it brings me back. I'm just being honest. It brings me back. And when I was looking at what the Ascent was doing, I was like, oh, they got like a mode where you can aim and you can aim high. So there's some verticality in this twin stick shooter. Like, that's not really been done before.
Let's get it.
Comes out. And it wasn't even the bugs for me. That's what's sad. It wasn't the bugs for me. It was really the mechanics. It was things like traveling. You brought it up when you were suggesting. You were like, yeah, we know we got that. For me, like, running all over the place was so annoying because even when I unlocked the taxi and the express terminals where it would like bring you to places, you'd still constantly be lost on where you were going. The map was horrible. It just sucked at guiding you. And what made it more frustrating is I think with the world being so pretty, like, maybe I wouldn't have minded spending more time in there. But the level gating around every corner that made no sense. I maybe they were trying to convey this idea of like, it's a dark and dangerous place. But this goes to show what happens in any type of RPG, action or turn-based, when your math is bad. Because I'm level 5 running into level 13s and getting smoked while I'm lost. And I'm heading to a level 8 area where I'll be okay. But before that, there's a bunch of level 13s and they wipe me and there's no other way around them. It's like, okay, I got to cheese the game and like keep popping them behind cover and keep running away from them. That's not fun because then I die and I got to reload and run all the way back. Yeah. I felt like this was a game that I thought I was losing my mind with. And I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. And then you get to the end. And it's the most abrupt conclusion that tries to sequel bait you. And again, I think there's a lot of potential here with the sequel. But when I got there, I went, really? Like there's clearly more to be told. And now I know based off the balancing, which I imagine has been fixed, the performance, which I didn't experience much issues with on Series X, but I know there was a point where I remember you saying that.
Bro, I had it crash. I couldn't end the game. It crashed one time when we finally the checkpoint between the final boss and way before you get there, you got to deal with some stuff. Yeah, and we did it in co-op. And what would happen is we'd get through the tough areas, we get to the final point, and there was one we kept losing to the boss. I have to restart. Then we get it. We finally beat the boss. Yeah, crash. Yeah. I don't get the achievement. I don't get the bro. I wanted to understand. So I gotta give you your right with that. Like, some of the bugs that I experienced were disgusting bugs. Yeah. Like, to the point I complained to Xbox publicly. I complained behind the scenes. I was like, I heard that the PC one was even worse.
I was going to say that. Yeah, the PC was really bad. And what's interesting is they implemented a patch to fix all of this. And then the console version started to break. And then they had to patch that to fix what the patch had broke. It was a mess technically. And again, between the balancing, technical mess, and the navigation, to me this was just a avoid at all cost games. Like, hey, I am not crazy about the Ascent at all, but you would have never met someone prior to August 31st who was more crazy about
It's so funny how we had different things. I mean, everything you said is valid. It's on my must play. It's on your do not mess with this. Look, this is what I will say. the foundation for something great is there.
Yes.
It's just they gotta work on those issues. I can't. Everything you said, every issue you said is valid. There's nothing I can say to dispute those issues.
I'll put my neck out when they announce that sequel. I'm sure I'll be there being like, okay.
Right now, they apparently. I'm looking right now. There's a cybersec pack is available. The largest something a main supply that will release a brand new set of weapons, tactical gear, armor, and animated skins. So nothing really level wise, just whatever. And they need another thing. They need, please, customization team. Can we do a little better job? Can we do a little better job? You know what I'm saying? Especially with the different shades of people. Please.
Yes.
So yeah, I give you that. I give it. I can't dispute that.
All
so
right,
I'm
what you got. Top two here.
This would hurt my heart to put this on the list. It hurt. 12 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I knew one of us had to have it.
Yeah, 12 minutes. This was super hyped coming in. Coming in. We heard, this is a unique thing, this story, you're in this room, it's just you husband and wife, so to speak. You're trying to figure this thing out. And it's just a clunky control initially mess. This thing was really built for PC with click, point, and click. It did not translate well a controller because I felt like I was fighting with the controller to do things. Yeah, and it's like, and these are very time sensitive. You better be on it actions. And I'm like, yo, I pressed it. What's going on? Very ambitious. I like what the game tried to do. It really tried to do something cool, right? But how I said what this thing did was the opposite of what I said in Forgotten City. Not respecting my time once I'm figuring out the mechanics and the story of the loop. Right. It's just like, don't make me keep going through all this stuff again when you should at least sidetrack me when the player has figured out at least a good 1/4 of it. Yeah. Don't make, you know what I'm saying? That I hate when loops do that. I'm out. It really bothers me. And then the other thing is like, I'm all for puzzles, but it's like some of them I felt was so obscure and they didn't really lead the player the right way to the correct decision that the game wanted. And there was one particular one that really frustrated me with the antagonist that comes in. And I literally know what I need to do. I have figured it out. But because the game, you don't catch it in this very little minuscule window, they want to act like I didn't do it. And then if you fail, it gets back all the way back to the beginning. I'm like, no, bro. It was that point I wanted to uninstall it, but for the sake of defining Duke and Ben, to salute to you, brother, because I'm glad we did it. I'm like, I'm gonna power through this thing, but potential was there. It was just too many things that they didn't execute. Well.
Yeah, I can't say much on it because that was a game. It's pretty rare for me. When I hear something's bad, it's like, oh, I want to play it, see what it's all about. But like, I remember like Hoag's tweets about it. It was I hate this game. Like he still to this day, he still brings up how he's like, how is this nominated? I remember it was like in a Game Awards category.
He was like, in there.
He was on it right away. He's like me with Deathloop. Like that's what it is. And so that's how I connected with him afterwards. I was like, okay, I get where he's at with this. And I was like, I'm just gonna not. And what you said, what Ben said, like it just to me seemed like one you should just avoid.
Yeah, last point is the reason why we go so hard on it is because we wanted to love it. The premise, the idea was cool, right? Some of the things that happen, you're like, okay, this is some genius stuff. It just, like I said, it just didn't come together smoothly. And that's what hurt. And I can see why people are like, yo, you wasted my time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. So what you got?
All right, so number two, we talked about this a little bit, so this one won't be too long. Avengers. This is your exact reasoning. Too little, too late. This was needed yesterday. It came out with the War for Wakanda expansion. It got a small little pop. I remember watching the internet. People want to love this game, right? They're like, it's in the top 5 Game Pass play games. Oh, Avengers bounce back. Man, how quickly the tide turned when we saw the SpiderMan DLC and we saw the player count plummet before that. Man, it was immediately, we were all reminded, this game's just not that good. And this is one that I know you're going to see when you're crawling through that Game Pass library. I know the audience is going to see it and they're going to go, do I? Like, I like Marvel. Look, don't. Don't. It hurts your Marvel fanship a little bit to know that they saw the movies, they knew what they were doing. They saw movies are popular. We got Endgame. Make this live service game with the same names, multiplayer. We're gonna microtransaction the fuck out of this thing,
bro. The most egregious microtransactions ever.
Yeah, really bad. And we're gonna also sell it to them. This to me was another game that, there are games that you want on Game Pass, right? There are games that need it. Cyberpunk, Avengers is one of them, but Avengers needed Game Pass like starting 2021. Like that's what it needed. They could have seen out 2020.
Yeah.
Saw what they could have done with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they had to face reality. And again, like you said, I don't know if there was contractual obligations because they had something they owed PlayStation. If they thought, hey, with this burst of War for Wakanda, maybe that'll put us back on the map. And I guess to some extent it worked. War for Wakanda didn't really look that bad in my opinion.
No,
like
it's a beautiful game.
I remember Colt Eastwood was playing a lot of Avengers and he was posting Black Panther gameplay and it looked good.
It looks phenomenal. I mean, it is a looker. I was taking it in 4K HDR. Oh, that is a beautiful game. Yeah. Do not get me wrong, but it's like you said. The microtransactions.
Too much negatives.
Too much negative. The fake co-op, which really doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And they didn't need to apply the looter shooter aspect.
They did not.
Game. They should have kept it away from it. Kept it simplistic and the story, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
They went for the bag.
The repetition really hurts this game when you got to go back to certain areas and repeat missions. The combat across all of the main cast, I thought Captain America felt all right, but otherwise, I think Captain America's ripe for his own game. I don't know why that really hasn't happened beyond the Super Soldier game that came out on the PS3 and 360. Like, I think he'd be great for that free flow style combat with the shield. There's defensive elements there. I don't know why that hasn't happened, but this game shined a light on that again. Otherwise, like I thought. No one really felt in particular good. Like it had a clicky, stuttering combat. Like when you connected with like hit, like it just like everyone was like stun locking on hits, and I'm like, this reminds me of like beat 'em ups in 2007, like that level of gameplay. And it also features a gameplay mechanic I really struggle with, where you're playing as these badasses. I think of Jump Force as well.
I know where you're gonna go.
Yeah. You play as badasses and standard grunt steps up. He's like, what's good, bro? Punches you out, right? And you fall down. And there's a button you press to like roll out and get up and get back into the action. There's nothing to quickly get up. You get knocked down. You got to lay on your back. 1, 2. Okay, up I come. Like it creates the worst pacing where getting hit. It reminds me of how I felt about like Fable Anniversary. Like, that old combat of like knocked on your ass and you're like, okay, up we go. It feels bad. So avoid Avengers at all costs.
Yeah. So, I'm up. This one, I'm glad I stayed away. I was like, yep, not doing it. But gotta get you, man. GTA. Come to the front of the congregation, sir.
I did not think of that. That's a good one.
GTA San Andreas, please come to the front of the congregation. We need to have a talk with you, Rockstar. What is going on, baby? This was supposed to be a slam dunk. This was supposed to be light work. You already had the source code. All you got to do is pretty this bad boy up. Nah, I say all you got to do like I'm a dev, but I'm not. But at the end of the day,
the game plan is obvious here.
The game plan, right? Obvious. You think this is something easy money. We thinking like you should Mass Effect trilogy this situation.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yep.
Easy, established, beloved IP. It was already. You can't mess this up. Yep. And I see that razor sharp ring, busted faces, that performance was just disgusting, chugging all over the place. Like, really, we doing this on Series X consoles and PlayStation 5 consoles? This is bad. I don't know who stamped finish on this. They were just out of touch, and this is when keeping it real go wrong. It went wrong on y'all. It went wrong, bro. So yeah, you got to get it. This was actually, to be honest with you, Matty, surprising.
Yeah, really surprising. If Halo wasn't coming around, I probably would have talked about it more on the channel. But yeah, it's just I remember like watching it unfold. I'm like, dude, is every year going to have a Cyberpunk? And what's really funny, I bring this up because it's amazing. Like, it's a good way to capture what I think a lot of people, where people's heads were at. I was watching a Metal Jesus Rocks video, and he does like game collection videos, right? I was watching one from like 3 years ago, and he's like, PS2 games I still play. He's talking about Vice City. And he's like, this game's so great. Man, I wish Rockstar would just remaster it. I'm sitting there thinking to myself in 2021, I'm like, wow, did no one expect what was going to happen when they finally did that? But like his excitement and enthusiasm for it, because I'm not a big GTA fan. That was the other reason I kind of skipped out on coverage. I was like, I don't have anything meaningful to say here. It's different with like Cyberpunk, where it's like, what's happening? Like, I'm a fan of RPGs. But GTA, I'm just like, I haven't even played yet. I don't really, whatever. But hearing someone who's like authentically like, you can go back and play this and it's great, and knowing what it turned out to be, that really to me put into perspective what it was like beyond it just looking horrible, like the disappointment that was attached to it.
That was, I completely agree. And that was on my list. That was one of the final ones on my list.
My number one probably doesn't come as much of a surprise, but Dark Alliance. This was, oh man, this one hurt because, again, as I've said with The Ascent, I loved Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, man. I loved it. And they actually did a port this year for Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance that was really bad on a trophy front, like really, really bad. But I was able to go back and reconnect with that. And I see this new Dark Alliance game come around. I'm like, yo, they still believe. Like, okay. I don't think I've played anything more broken this year than Dark Alliance. I mean, it just didn't work. And it was so bad that I had to have a conversation of Game Pass needs to start vetting the games that they're bringing onto the service day one. Because as much as I love Outriders at number one, it's fixed now. You're good. We had to talk about in that time capsule. This was around June this all happened. We were looking at bad servers and bugs, inventory wipes and Outriders. And we're looking at Dark Alliance, which didn't work at all. Like, like you could sit there as the archer. I forgot her name. You could sit there as the archer on a perch. And the enemy would just stand there looking at you as you're like, bump, bump. No. Bump. That type of broken, right? Like just not functional, not responsive. And the level design, the progression, all of it just betrays what it was built off of. None of it was good. I had a feeling though. I had a feeling
what was the sign?
The sign was celebrities playing the game.
Yep. That was my sign.
There was like three, I forgot who they were, but there were three celebrities playing this game and like one streamer. And they're like, whoa, I walked into a trap. Oh, I'm dead. And I was like,
guys.
Yeah. But it wasn't even that they were using personalities to hype it up. It was when they walked into a trap and someone's like, whoa, I'm dead already. I'm like, hold on. You ain't that bad. No, like something's wrong here. Like that's bad. I was like, if they lay those out, like, oh no, the balancing. I started thinking the math again. I was like, no, can't have this being balanced. And dude, this game is, if there is, I know some people might hear some games on this list. Dead Space 1, Scarlet Nexus, The Ascent, Adventures. I might try these out. Screw you, Matty. Do not try me on this. Do not try me on this. You are not getting anything out of Dark Alliance. I'll shout out SkillUp's review. He has a fantastic review of Dark Alliance and how it's awful. It is this year's Godfall. You want to know a comparison? It's this year's Godfall. It's when it plays, it's not fun at all to play, and otherwise it's not working. And it's very mediocre. Just avoid it at all costs, really.
Yeah, I mean, can't really add on to that. I all my feelings exactly what I remember seeing that trailer, and then when I heard the horror stories, and I'm just like,
so sad.
What we got?
Now we got our xCloud games. We got a smaller list for this. We're not doing top 5 for this. We just want to do like, some games we've played on xCloud because we know it's part of the package. And hey, if you end up using this and you want to take some games on the go, if you will, a couple suggestions for you. Not as intense of a list.
No doubt. Now I do have XCloud. Before I ask what's the other category? Do we have any other categories?
None.
Oh, this is the final. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so I can go. Okay, I just want to make sure I could move some things around.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. xCloud. I got a couple because I do use xCloud a lot.
Yeah, my list is smaller, so I'll probably be done by the time.
Okay, so
what I'll do is more to say.
I will start off with one that really surprised me. I feel fits this cloud gaming. Last Stop. Really enjoyed it. More of the kind of the Telltale kind of formula. Great story. The narrative, the art style, in Britain, you know, basically 3 different stories going on at one time. You know, a lot doesn't happen until later on in the game and things kind of link up. But, you know, a very cool, mysterious vibe. And again, some of the greatest dialogue and very funny, very funny. A lot of what the Brits call it cheeky humor. Like it's just, it is so unapologetically British. And I really enjoyed it. And they tackle some tough issues on certain things. And then will be controversial. Like some people be like, eh, like it really led you up to something like, oh, this is about to be great. And then at the end, I'm like, eh. But if you're on the go, you know, these narrative style games, they fit perfectly. There's not going to be a lot of response time and all of this. So yeah, Last Stop, if you got a chance, man, it was a real fun story. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I only have 2 on my list. So first one is I picked Dragon Age Origins. There's something really cool about having this game on the go. This is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's nothing too fast, so you don't really need to worry about the combat, the lag, if anything does, which it will. You know, it might lag spike at times. That the combat can handle itself while it's while it's buffering, right? So there's that, which makes it easier to play. I was actually just testing it out because I thought, oh, this is cool. It's on xCloud, and here I am playing it again because it's very easy to get roped in with this game. I mean, it's got a fantastic character builder system with your origin story that you play through that defines your character, your race, and how people respond to that, your class and how people respond to that. But then it's the ability to like start on your phone, take it to your Xbox, and then I'm at my office and I'll fire up Dragon Age Origins and I'll just continue that playthrough. That's a really, really cool feeling watching that synchronize. And it's an RPG that's about 20, 25 hours. So it flies. It really does fly. So when I'm waiting for a video to render, I just pop this sucker open. And I mean, it's great. No touch enabled controls. So you will need like a controller with you, or I forgot the name of the attachment.
Kishi, Razer Kishi.
Yeah. Got to have one of those. But otherwise, runs really well. I think they've upgraded their servers recently because what issues I had when this launched are much, much better now. And I'm talking about on my home internet at times.
Nice.
Which, you know, that's where the real test is at. And when I'm at my office, it works fine. But like at the home internet, man, when it's working on that, that's a good sign. So yeah, I also think there's just something cool about like I thought a generation defining RPG being on your phone. That's amazing to me. So cool. That's one of my picks for xCloud games that you should check out.
Great pick for me. Moving right in, and you know I am Lord. We are Lord turn-based, so I gotta put one of my babies in there, man. I gotta put Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point, man. Beautiful game. Touch control, you know, on with Phoenix. But look, this is the ultimate XCOM game. We since we don't have a new XCOM for this generation, by XCOM lovers, this is the one for you. This is from the OG Julian Gallup. It's well done. It does add some new mechanics and things that XCOM doesn't do itself. And if they're doing difficulty spikes, you know what I'm saying? But it's brutal in some parts, but it is such a rewarding experience. And I just love the way he's dealing with the alien threat and all the different classes. And it's very intricate. It's way more deeper than you think. You could play it from a simplistic level, but there's so much depth here. And turn-based, to me, is the perfect game on the go. Those are the games. My turn, your turn. My turn, your turn. That kind of a deal. So, shout out to Phoenix Point. Give it a shot. If you're turn-based, you got to give this a shot, man.
Right. My only other game on this list is going to get some people riled up. What's more fascinating to you all than a 360 game on your phone, you may be wondering, and it's an original Xbox game on your phone. Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Oh, yeah, with the blinks.
Yeah, I love this game, man. It's so different, and I'm talking about the original. I haven't played the sequel actually, but a lot of people think I'm like a super fan of this game. It's just I like to talk about games that don't get enough attention on the shows I'm on because I think a lot of people know my taste, and so it's like Blinks the Time Sweeper. I just like to shout out because this soundtrack is a vibe. Love it. It's a really cool universe. You know, they're just like these cat-like creatures that go to different pockets of time and in the world and like clean things up. it's touch enabled, which is also really cool. I thought, it's amazing that this is even a thing. But yeah, you're able to play this just on your touchscreen. So one night it was like 4 a.m. I was having one of those sleepless nights. I was like, fuck it. I was like, let me see what this is all about. I was like, I bet this won't even run on my phone, knowing my home internet and stuff. And it was working like a charm, man. It was beautiful. And what's great is I was reminded, this isn't like an intense 3D platformer. This was Xbox's rival to all the other 3D platformers coming out around the early 2000s. And I thought it was a pretty unique answer. Was it the best answer? No. I liked stuff like Ratchet and Clank more, Sly Cooper way more. But this was a good response, I thought. I really liked what they did here. And so what you'll do is you'll run around, you'll suck up trash, you can shoot that trash at enemies. You'll pick up different little star bits, and you can use them for powers that you can stash away. So you can use like a rewind, a pause, and you're on a clock, right? Because it's your time sweeping. So a lot of cool mechanics there that I think go underappreciated nowadays. But yeah, I just want to shout out Blinks in some way, shape, or form. And knowing that you can play it on the xCloud, I thought that was really neat for an original Xbox game.
No, that's really neat. The fact that it's in the OG, and on the go. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of the OG stuff that is still around. So yeah, that's actually a really hidden gem. A lot of people didn't get a chance to play and to play that on the go. Yeah, why not? Yeah. It probably look good on the phone.
It does. It really does. Yeah, because with its 4x3, it actually like covers most of the phone screen. It's probably more widescreen than what you get on like a 4K TV.
Yeah, got to give you a shout out on that. I'll finish up. I got two. I'll finish up with. I'll go back to back. One, the Xbox community would give us a lot of crap that we have not mentioned this game. There's one game here that they gonna be like, yo, I can't believe the Dukes did. How dare they don't have this game on the list? Forza Horizon 5.
Bro.
Forza Horizon 5. I had it on my initial list, but I moved it because I tried it on mobile. Super impressive.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. And it's so weird because in my mind, the games that I think shouldn't work well on xCloud, and it's like fighting and touch. Racing, excuse me. And the thing about, I remember, I don't know why, I got to check if Tekken was, I remember when I was in the xCloud beta, Tekken was on it, right? And I'm like, yo, this is like 1-to-1. This is like Series S blades, right? And I'm like, wow, I'm impressed because it's all about timing, blocking. But back on focus down with Forza, I always felt like driving, is that going to work? Right? Am I going to be precise in the turns? Is it going to be responsive? And then you can't have bad lag on, you can't.
That rewind button can only help you out so much.
Bro, it really does the job. I am super impressed with Forza on xCloud. I was blown away. I was like, wow, I did not see this coming. I'm not noticing the difference. I don't know what sorcery they're doing now. I know, shout out to Tom Warren from The Verge. He talked about some new clarity and some new software stuff that they're doing for it. So I got to shout that out. Mexico at its finest. Forza Horizon. I'd be remiss if I don't mention it some way on these lists. But yeah, that. And then the last one, this is my heart. This is my baby. It technically came out already, but by qualification, made the list because it debuted on Game Pass this year. Yakuza Like a Dragon, baby. Itchy Man, stand up. Let's go. Let's go. This is my joint, right? This is the Yakuza for me. You know what I'm saying? Again, turn-based, but with a stylish feel. Yeah. Big characters, cinematic, over the top, hilarious. Doesn't take itself seriously. On Game Pass, on the go. I played this game on the go in the doctor's office, got mad stuff done, seamless, going back and forth. It actually translates extremely well.
Yes.
For turn-based. So yeah, Like a Dragon. If you haven't played this game, like this is low-key one of my little game of the year recommendations for that year that it came out. That's how much I love Like a Dragon.
Isn't it the worst though when you like can't put in your game of the year list? You're like, this is one of the best things I played this year, and I can't put in the game of the year list. Yeah.
Yep, same thing. So that was my list. Yeah.
Great lists all around. And ladies and gentlemen, we hope you certainly have a little more guidance now on what you got to do with Game Pass when you hop in there, whether you're new or you've already been a sub. We thought this may be a good holiday shopping guide, if you will, downloading guide. Cog, great list though. And of course, we got to do our hashtag. Make sure that everyone's, while we're away, make sure that everyone's listening. Yeah. So I feel like Game Pass DD would be a scooter here.
Yeah. Either that, I was gonna say, get that. Yeah, Game Pass. Let's keep it simple.
Yeah. I
Game
kind of
Pass
wanted to
DD.
tap into your bust one with Cyberpunk. Like, that was hilarious. Like, you're not even on there and you're a bust. Like,
Yeah,
how do you put that in like one word?
That was a classic move for sure. Yeah, but I think we've used Bust DD. I feel. Oh no, we haven't, right?
Have we? I don't know. That sounds like what we've used, like bust DD.
Yeah, I feel like we could go get. Let's just get the Pro Game Pass DD. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, we'll do Game
Yeah.
Pass DD.
Game
We'll
Pass
keep it
DD.
simple. Let us know on Twitter at G27status, at Lord Cognito. Of course, comments are fine if you don't want to go over on social media. Patreon post comments, great as well. Let us know you got to the end of the episode. We're certainly looking forward to interacting with you. We hope you enjoy your holidays, though, because this will be going live before Christmas. If you're celebrating, Merry Christmas. And to those of you who supported our show throughout the year, thank you all so much. We'll be back next week with our Game of the Year conversation. So keep it locked in for that. Thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll talk with you soon, all right? Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.